was maybe about 8 years old.
8 years of age.
Yeah.
So you remember Belize very well?
Oh yeah, and then what had happened was, is when I did come back, I always visited Belize.
Yeah. So Belize was always there.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, 8 years old, my daughter's 8 years old. Hello, Naomi, Daddy.
Tulsa, baby.
It's pretty advanced age. So my recollection of Belize is vivid. You know, I remember when my mom left. You know, things were hard for my mom, single mother. I was born out of wedlock, so my mom left Belize to try to find a better life. And she didn't tell me she was leaving, but I knew she was leaving. And when she got on the plane, or when she left to get on the plane, I thought I was going to die. I remember that day. I never cried, never was so heartbroken because I knew my mom was going to leave.
Yeah, and that's one of those things.
She left to find a better life for her and I. And if she didn't leave, I would have never been Shyne and sold all those millions of records. So thanks, Mom.
Amen. So, but
yes, has the greatest hip hop story I have ever heard. From prison to being an elected official in Belize, looking to be the next prime minister. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to Shyne Barrow.
I'm very purpose driven. So everything for me is Belize. You know that. That's all, that's all we talk about.
All we talk about is Belize. Shout out to Kanye West, just came back from Belize.
It's a beautiful country.
Yeah, everybody's going out there. Tourism. I feel like everywhere I go, everybody's talking about going to Belize. I mean, I think you got something to do with that. We're bringing everybody to Belize. Everybody's like, yo, we got to go over there. I got to get this one off. Because he's my brother. We hang out all the time. We went to a charity for Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
He's sitting with me, right? And we all alone. Because, you know, now he got the Obama, like, he's like, you know, this guy is like, honorable, right? So I'm in the car and I'm like, yo, Sean, man, talk to me, man, like we used to talk. No, I'm here to help the people. I'm like, yo, Sean, it's only me and you alone. No, I'm a man of God, the man of people. I'm here to help the people. Man, you serious about this thing, huh?
Yeah, you know, but that's why we're brothers. We do the same thing. You're always doing charity in the Bronx.
Lala was here the other day. Is that permanent? Hers aren't.
Yeah, mine is.
You're permanent.
Yeah.
How long you had that?
For like 2.5 years.
Yeah. I want to give you a shoe cam. Put your feet on those feet.
Okay.
And while you're looking at shoes, just check out the finery of what his entire suit is made out of.
These are Saint Laurent.
Yes. Well, as long as we're asking, in your suit.
Givenchy.
Yeah. And you'll wear it once and you'll throw it away.
No. I like collecting pieces. So if I buy something, I feel like in 3 years it'll look better.
As long as you keep your weight down, right?
True.
Like, it is so.
This next guest has the greatest hip hop story. I gotta get this. You know, this guy is not.
3 months.
I had a whole 3 months of incarceration.
So it's 17 years and
17
3
years
months.
and 3 months.
And look at where, like, did you ever see this?
And you know,
like,
that's what we were talking to Jay-Z about as far as the criminal justice reform. And, you know, I am the template for why we need to have criminal justice reform, not just in the United States, but everywhere, because our young boys and girls should not be a subject to perpetual incarceration. It shouldn't be that they go before a judge and if they make one mistake at the age of 18 or 19 or 21, that their life should be condemned forever. And I'm the embodiment of that.
we need a movie.
Tell me that a life movie is in the way.
You know, we're working on a movie. We're working on the books. We're working on the movie. We're working on the book. What is your dream scenario? I'm sorry, sis. For Belize, what is your dream scenario?
You know, my vision is to transform Belize into a developed nation and to create.
Baby, when I tell you, Fat Joe, he was doing way too much. He was acting like he was Wendy Williams up in that chair. like, what the heck is going on? All right, y'all, give me 1 second. I need to save this right quick.
One of the crazy ways where you can go from being a class labor. Yeah, barbershop stamp of approval.
Mhm.
Barbershop is the most brutal
Yeah, man.
place of entry, right? If you're trash, you might get beat up
Hell yeah.
by the barbers
Mhm.
for even having the audacity to waste their time by spitting some garbage. And so my barber would always be telling me, and all of it, and like there was this one barber, he was like the biggest hater. And he was like, man, you nicer than all them guys. You belong, on TV. And so so this guy took me to Don Pooh,
Mhm.
Robert Cummings, big time entrepreneur mogul now. He's great example of standing the test of time. He was in management with B.I.G. with Foxy Brown, and spit for him. He was like, oh my goodness, let's sign the deal. Took me to another guy by the name of Imani Haley, who's my guy. And everybody was just like, this kid is incredible. And that's where it really started, right? Then they took me to Mark Pitts. They took me to rap for Un Rivera. They took me to rap for Puff Daddy. I even rapped for Jay-Z. That's in my documentary. Yeah, like we were in a club called the Metronome.
Yeah.
And I was so full of myself. But again, that's hip hop. Hip hop started with plugging turntables into the light posts.
Mhm.
Cool Herc from Jamaica,
Mhm.
dancehall DJ. And all we had was hope. And they said that we were a fad. They said that that music, they dismissed our
Yeah,
music.
it's not gonna
And
last.
now we are the most dominant form of music on planet Earth. So that's hip hop. Hip hop has a sense of bravado out of the necessity to survive. So it's not necessarily that you're so cocky or haughty. It's just that, listen, life is death, and life is hopeless. So you got to give yourself affirmation. You got to believe, because nobody believes in us. They sent COINTELPRO, they sent Oliver North, and they wanted to destroy us with narcotics. So yeah, that's that hip hop. So I thought, man, I didn't think there was anyone better than me.
Right. Can you explain the Jay-Z story?
Yeah. So the Jay-Z story. So fellow Brooklyn. We're there, me, Manny, Don Pooh, and I'm saying to Jay-Z, I'm like, listen, I'm the nicest person that you're ever gonna hear. I rap for you, I'll give you my tape, and if you don't like it, you can shoot me. Like I was just.
Then you asked me if you had a gun. You had your gun.
Yeah. I was on one. And so what happened was, I gave him the tape. He's probably looking at me like I was a lunatic. We're friends now. That's my guy. A great guy. Respect to him. And I gave him the tape. I never heard back from him. So me and Manny went to his apartment on 560 State Street. You didn't rap about it. That's in Brooklyn. And waited for him to come outside. So he comes outside, iceberg hat, iceberg sweats, hops into his Range Rover. And that was the other car that I got, first car that I got as well. He hops into his Range Rover, and me and Manny run up on him. And like, what do you think? He's like, yeah, it was all right. Drives off. I was like, okay. I see you. Just like I saw the person that, took out of the club in 600. And that's what actually happened. Jay-Z tried to sign me 2 times after that. Yeah,
so would you get when things people start to hear and the names that you ran through, there becomes like this bidding war.
Yeah, but what happened, interestingly enough, so it starts August 97, like a month or 2 after I graduated high school. I was actually going to New York, a technical college, because again, I was on the path of legitimacy, law-abiding citizen, as I promised my mom. So I was actually going to school at night, delivering messages during the day. But when Don Pooh and all these guys came in the picture, I got my first check. deal, a shopping deal. That wasn't like an actual deal. I didn't really understand that at the time. And after like 6 months, nothing was happening. So like we rapped for everybody. Everybody was like, "You're incredible." But the person that changed my life, I could really say, and God bless his soul, he passed away as well, is Chris Lighty. Chris Lighty, I think it was like maybe December, invited me to his Def Jam offices, violated Def Jam offices, and pulled up, put in tape, and it was by this producer, by Swiss Beats. And I went in, and like, you know, he was falling off his chair. He was like, "Oh my goodness, you're not leaving here."
Perhaps want to now kick Justin off the team on the basis of what. So last night I had a divine time. I attended and was awarded a big awards dinner here in New York. It was the New York Broadcasters Association, and I was named New Yorker of the Year. I know you're wondering, well, Wendy, don't you live in Jersey? Why did you get the broadcast New Yorker of the Year? It's because I've never worked in Jersey, except for maybe selling T-shirts on the boardwalk, and one time in Asbury Park at a telemarketer company. But I've always made my bones here in New York. I got here in 1988 with my first radio job, and I'm still here now. So the broadcast. And I want to shout out to my friend Elvis Duran. He got the broadcaster. So this thing about Puffy being arrested, I'm not sure what to make of it, because if you're a parent, you know, you go ham on anybody who messes with your kids. But okay, he was arrested for assault with a deadly weapon, and battery, and making terroristic threats. The terroristic threat charge was just added this morning, right? Yeah, we just found that out about an hour ago. Well, here's what happened. So his son, Justin, plays the cornerback on the UCLA football team. And he's going into his junior year. And he's there on a full ride scholarship. And so the boy, I guess, is, you know, serious about his sports. Puffy is said to be a helicopter dad, you know, shows up and, you know what helicopter parenting is. Anyway, a helicopter dad. So apparently the team had practice early in the morning, and Justin had missed quite a few practices, and then he wasn't performing suitable to whoever's watching over the team. I guess they would call that the coach. Then go home. So I don't know whether he lives in a dorm. He went back to the dorm, whether he went back to the mansion, but whatever he did, he had the keys, I suspect, to the Maybach. And went to the school to talk to the training coach, the weight coach, whatever it was, the one who sent Justin home. So when Puffy gets there, the coach is on the phone, and the coach says, "I guess you know, wait, there he is right here." I know, don't do it, don't do it. The girls are like, "Oh." I said the same thing. Anyway, look, so dude is on the phone. I guess Puffy's like, "No, you don't make me wait," and started going crazy, on the coach. And Puffy walked up to his hands like, allegedly, "You don't put your hands up to me." And then he sent him out like to the weight room. Adjacent, I guess, to his office. And when he gets out to the weight room, there's interns, there's witnesses around. And by the way, there's camera footage of all this, but we don't have it yet. First, the cops have to look at it, and then we'll get it. Look. So then he gets out to the weight room and proceeds to kettle at allegedly, this is the kettle. When you go to the gym, that's the one where you do this. One day I'm gonna get so mad at the gym, I'm just gonna let it go and shatter the mirror. Anyway, but proceeded to allegedly, swing the kettle at an intern. So the cops were called. Puffy was arrested. I'm sure it wasn't an overnight stay, but there's got to be more to the story. And I would also think that they might be, wouldn't they perhaps want to now kick Justin off the team on the basis?
He would always be telling me and like, there was this one barber, he was like the biggest hater. He was like, man, you nicer than all them guys. You belong, on TV. And so, so this guy took me to Tom Prue, Robert Cummings, big time entrepreneur, mogul now. He's, great example of standing the test of time. He was, in management with B.I.G., with Foxy Brown, and spit for him. He was like, oh my goodness, let's sign a deal. Took me to another guy by the name of Imani Haley, who's my guy, and everybody was just like, this kid is incredible. And that's where it really started, right? Then they took me to Mark Pitts. They took me to rap for Un Rivera. They took me to rap for Puff Daddy. I even rapped for Jay-Z. That's a documentary, rather than having someone who could be an ambassador for Belize, who could be someone that promotes and helps me market Belize, to me, strategically, I said, listen, doesn't make sense to hold on to the anger, hold on to the malice, and it's not serving my bigger purpose, which is to drive tremendous traffic to Belize and do whatever we can to help the people of Belize. And that was the basis of the most recent relationship. So when he called me and asked me to perform at the BET Awards.
Yeah, that was 2022.
2022, I didn't want to do it. I wasn't chasing the hype. I wasn't chasing a ghost. I was focused on policy, public sector management, how to hold the government of Belize accountable and deal with solutions, because some political leaders and parties, they tell you everything wrong that the government is doing, but they don't tell you what their solutions are. And it takes a lot of studying, a lot of, analysis of the data to ensure that you come up with solutions that are not farcical, that are not just rhetoric, but solutions that can actually be implemented. So I spent all of my time doing that, and also building a relationship with the people of Belize that one day they would have trusted me to be their prime minister. I didn't want to send them mixed signals that I was still trying to be a rapper, right? I felt, I was actually offended when he asked me to come and rap. I was like, well, when he first asked me, I was like, oh, you want me to introduce you on stage? You want me to say, you want me to give you an award? He's like, no, I want you to perform. I'm retired. I'm the next prime minister of Belize. That's not what I do. And he's a very convincing gentleman. And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? It has to be all about Belize, though.
Yeah.
And that's why you see the biggest flag, biggest flag ever.
And he's even going, Belize.
Yes, exactly. Because I made that a part of it, and then I changed the entire first verse of Bad Boys and inserted Belize, and I end the record with Belize. So it was worthwhile. And that was the basis of the relationship. He had given a scholarship. He had started a scholarship program for students in Belize as well with Howard, because remember he had the foundation with Howard. And so that's how I was looking at it. How people can help Belize. And then when the situation, when things started falling apart for him, interestingly enough, all the American media kept reaching out to me, but I wasn't interested in urinating on someone's grave. I wasn't interested in basking in someone's demise. So I rejected all interviews, but cynical journalists, this one particular journalist, I won't say his name, I want to give him any recognition. There's one particular journalist in Belize, who obsessively hates everything Shyne. And so he tried to tie me into what was happening to Puff. And I'm like, I was incarcerated because of him. What do I have to do with that? And so I had to explain. And then when you explain, there's certain sound bites. And the woman that was injured, one of the victims, and she came out and she was like, Puff shot me. It wasn't Shyne. And I was like, well, I've been telling you that, I wasn't the one that shot anybody. That was never proven. And now, all these years later, she admits that it was Puff.
I remember even in the documentary, you had to come and take the seat again. It seemed like the doc was damn near over.
Yeah.
And then it's grace.
Yeah.
And we see you walk back into, into the chair.
Yeah.
And it's wild, man, because if I felt like, my career was taken, certain things was, that I felt was like right around the corner. I didn't get bailed out. We weren't co-Ds together.
Yeah.
You didn't pay for my loan, whatever it may be, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it take a different individual to say, I don't know what I would have done as far as like, hey, I didn't, you just said I didn't.
Yeah,
He did.
Yeah, I refused to cooperate. The district attorney wanted me specifically to cooperate and say that it was him that did it. And I refused.
How long were you incarcerated from? What were the
He got
ages?
sentenced 10 years.
Yeah.
And did you get locked up at what, 19, 20?
About 20 years old. Yeah.
8.5 on a 10-year sentence.
Yeah.
And at this time, bro, you're looking at hip hop.
Oh man, it was inspiring and stressful at the same time. I'm looking at the miracle of 50 Cent. And that's why I always tell people.
It is so good to see you. And I talk about this through the TV all the time. Like when Prodigy passed away, when we see fallen soldiers from our era,
Yes.
doesn't that make you shed tears and haunt you just a bit? Like, damn. So knowing that, like, LL's a daughter just got married, he's still with Simone, you're still standing, you look terrific. You and I've come full circle. I feel good here. We're going into our ninth season. But there are a lot of people who are just dropping by the wayside.
I think right now, also because of that, I think people are more health conscious. And right now, health is definitely wealth. And I think people are into giving themselves self-love and taking care of themselves.
What do you do?
To be honest, I just went through Ramadan and I fasted with a couple of friends of mine that are Muslim. So that's why I'm probably a little extra snatched right now. But you know what I've been doing? I've been really caring about what I put inside of me and just caring about like what I'm doing to myself. And I think that's the page. That's really the new wave.
Because I haven't seen you in over 15 years, but I'm not seeing wrinkles. I'm seeing good.
Thank you.
So great. That's your lifestyle.
Yes.
Because you live a really hectic lifestyle. And I don't understand all the running around and who are these people you surround yourself with and who are these people? Do they violate you? Do you get robbed? What happens? And you threw a house party and I got the footage. Okay. Look at this. Now, who has this many people at their house? Puff, Sean, Diddy, what do I call you?
I think you should call me Puff. You always call me Puff.
I do.
Yes.
Okay. First hurdle jumped.
I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous to come out here. I was drinking some Ciroc in the back.
Why did you bring some out? We could have got turned up and really had a conversation.
Can we get two Cirocs and a rocks, please? Thank you very much.
But you have all those people at your house.
Mhm.
Can we talk? We were just talking on Hot Topics about Alyssa Milano and her business manager stealing $10 million. And I should go into it, but I'll brag on you in my mind. We talked about it. Rich. Healthy. Have you ever been ripped off in such a bad way that you had to file for bankruptcy or anything? Because I've talked about you a lot, but I don't recall financial talk.
Yeah, no, my mother really wouldn't have that. My mother that's my safety net. She stays on top of making sure that her vibration and what she feels, and she tells me like, I'm not feeling this, I'm not feeling that, and she makes sure that I stay down.
So
News this week with a new documentary featuring never before seen video shot Diddy Combs in moments that he clearly viewed as secret, including a high stakes call with his lawyer just days before his now infamous arrest, plus Diddy reacting in real time as new lawsuits dropped against him. Combs has publicly objected that he says the videos were, quote, stolen.
You know, it's really going to be hard for me to take more hits than I've taken. God forbid, get in front of a jury and have a chance. And so I'm having this emergency call because something has to give. I've listened. I've been a superb client, as you said. I jumped on the plane. I'm coming to New York, but I'm just running around waiting for a shooting job.
These new videos contribute to a critical portrait of Diddy in the documentary, which we can report tonight has now jumped to #1 for Netflix shows in the U.S. since debuting this week. Sean Combs' The Reckoning tackles Diddy's entire life, including previous legal controversies, the recent trial, which saw him acquitted on the most serious charges, including RICO, but convicted for prostitution crimes that landed him in prison for about 2 more years. Diddy's team is also rebutting this project as a, quote, shameful hit piece. They note the obtained footage was not authorized for release. Netflix says they legally obtained the videos. In addition, tonight, another dynamic here is that another famous rapper is, of course, behind this film, 50 Cent, who has long publicly clashed with Diddy and has recently expanded into a wide range of film and TV projects. He has plenty to say about Combs' record. The rapper, actor, and producer joins me now. He's sold over 30 million albums, won all kinds of awards and accolades along the way, and is now a successful film and TV producer. And we're also joined by his colleague on the project, Alexandria Stapleton, an Emmy-winning showrunner and director of this series. Welcome to both of you.
Oh, man, thanks for having us.
Always great to have a 50-day.
Yeah, it's always going to be good. Great for ratings.
There we go. It's an important project, clearly. The question for both of you, 50 first, why this project? Why now?
Well, we waited until after the results of the trial to release the project, but I started like almost 5 months before I was able to find Alex, and finding that Emmy Award-winning showrunner and director is detrimental to the project being really well put together. So, you know, they should expect it to perform like Reggie Jackson did.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the why it's coming out now is we wanted to wait, to get through all of the legal proceedings, the criminal trial, and it's 4 parts, and it spans over 30 years of pop culture, his life. So it took some time, to say the least, to put all of this together.
It's an important story, and you could just tell it with all the public material. You go further. You've gotten your hands on some extra new material people are going to see for the first time, including this video. Any journalist would want to know how you got it, but it is Sean Diddy Combs in the heat of this, right before the arrest for the trial we just discussed, in private moments, talking to his lawyer, cameras running. Let's take a look.
It's the middle of September, and it's still long back. No, you have to have a spokesman. You have to have some sort of comms to constantly be pushing that, Mom. Because you may just be a person that just may watch CNN. So you have the wrong place looking to see what the people with the possible jurors are thinking. It could be somebody that has dealt in the dirty business of media and propaganda.
50, how'd you get it, and what does that scene show?
Well, I mean, you're a journalist, Harvey. Harvey, you would not disclose your sources.
We usually don't.
Yeah, but I got it. Yeah.
What he said.
What do you think it conveys? Because we see someone trying to pull the strings and talking about he would say affecting, others would say manipulating the public views of the allegations.
I think that, one big theme of the series is to go behind the scenes to really understand how brilliant you could say Sean Combs is at marketing, at owning his narrative, controlling the narrative at all times. And so why would that stop, when his life is on the line? So I think that, on its face, that's what it is. But as you get deeper in the film, you start to realize, perhaps how some of these tactics, how they really came to present themselves, during the trial.
You show that his abilities, his early rise. Right. Alexandra, you also give time to victims of the alleged abuse. Some of the cases are in different procedural postures. And you show victims who were women and men. Why is that important?
Because, victims of sexual assault, sexual violence, gender should not be a part of that conversation. When you are a victim, you are a victim. And I think that, this series was a platform in a way for these alleged victims to come forward, give their truth, put context to their situations when so much of it was ripped out, and we just the world was going for the salacious headlines, and they really had the time to tell their story.
Yeah, and the film takes us way behind the PR or propaganda machine. You see Diddy the day he's finding out about new suits against him while he's in New York preparing for a possible criminal arrest. This is another moment from the video that 50 said he won't tell us where he got it. But it's a rare window into his thinking. I can say, just like Nixon didn't think the Watergate tapes would come out against him, it would appear that Diddy did not think he would lose control of this video as he talks about an accuser. Take a look.
What level of drunkenness to see is going on? God told me to do nothing, so I got to do it. God told me to do it. And when I do it, girl that's in my group that was on my last album. You're on my last album. Now all of a sudden I'm this person. I'm this monster. Yeah. Gloves coming off.
Alexandria, what is this show in the story you're telling?
Well, this is a moment where the lawsuits, I would say, take the turn and they become very personal for him. Don Richard is one of the alleged victims who filed a lawsuit, and I think that this is a moment where he was nicked. His armor was nicked, I guess you could say, because I think Sean Combs is a person who probably feels like to step to him, especially legally, takes a lot of courage that I don't think he really assumed that a lot of people were going to have, even though the Cassie lawsuit had already been out. And so I think he was a little off balance, but that quickly turned to anger.
And 50, the project, I've seen all 4 episodes. It doesn't feel like a personality critique. It feels like it goes to the conduct, the alleged abuse, some of it alleged, some of it proven. And so you also show, one person who worked with Diddy, this was a Bad Boy co-founder who had a falling out with him, as apparently many people did. And it goes beyond the bravado. Some would say, 50, you have some bravado, and that's okay. Here, it seems that it turns into something more sinister and abusive. I want to play Mr. Burroughs talking about it and get your view of why this was an important part of the story. Take a look.
He had this thing with strongmen, and he had a thing with wanting to be one, but not positioned to be one street-wise, but positioned to be one industry-wise. And they call that a paper gangster.
And nor am I involved in any of that.
And so as he's paper gangstering, he's also trying to street gangster.
Yeah, Kurt Burroughs has about people being able to tell their truth or tell their version of the story. And the only thing I wish we were able to have Diddy be in the doc. So he could have said some things that, make people understand why people are saying these things about him.
The outreach went to his team and they gave denials, but he didn't want to participate.
Yeah.
What do you think of the psychology, 50? Because in getting to know you, I've learned that you could have been a full-time psychologist and done very well with that. You have a keen eye for people. Fair?
Oh yeah, I try.
Mr. Burroughs makes the argument that Diddy was overcompensating, that he wasn't initially actually a tough guy.
Right.
And then there's the old saying, be careful who you pretend to be, you might become them.
This is true.
Did that happen to him in your view?
I'm not sure if that's what transpired, but because I don't know him to be tough. Like we haven't even had problems. Like me and him. Like our issue, they'll say we had beef for 20 years, but I had to hire both his sons for different projects that I worked on, like both two different television shows, Quincy and Justin. So I don't like have that energy towards him, like where we trying to hurt each other. All I would like while other people pointed out those situations, like that he was dangerous like that. I said, oh, okay, I take it in, but we never got there.
Alexandria, the story also broadens well beyond the recent case. You look at a very controversial incident he was involved in early in his life, where people were badly hurt and killed, lost their life, but it was like a melee, not one-on-one violence. You look at the infamous case in the nightclub with J-Lo, where another artist, Shyne, took the rap, not him. Are you trying to tell a story that he's been getting away with things this whole time, or is that up to the viewer to decide?
Absolutely up to the viewer. I think that my job was to show patterns, and my job was to report the facts and things that happened. And I think that it's pretty obvious that there are patterns that follow him, trails, of destruction and devastation that follow. And I think that, again, context is everything. And so when you're talking about Sean Combs, when you're talking about these cases, you can't just cherry pick one to make it all make sense. You have to look at the piece as a whole.
Yeah. Now we have to talk about Tupac, which I wasn't committed to, but then I wanted to talk. So
I didn't know you were getting that.
You have a lot of people saying stuff in there that makes it sound like maybe he was responsible for that murder, which has never been proven. That's a very serious thing.
You have Keefe D and over in Vegas now, getting ready to go on trial for that case, saying those things.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with his trial. I think right now it's up for August of 2026. And so it'll be very interesting. It was fascinating, though, to unearth, different people that are not in the direct line of, when all the Keefe news came out, someone like Kirk Burroughs, you get to understand more of his opinion about what was going down. But I think more than just the actual murders and the tragic deaths of both Tupac and Biggie, I think that for us, it was really important to understand some of the dynamics of those three, Sean Combs, Biggie, and Tupac, and what was really going on behind the scenes. That often gets lifted because everyone just wants to talk about, the murder, and not to really digest why.
But do you think a viewer's left with the impression that he was responsible?
I think that that's really up to the court system and not to me or the film. We're just presenting, things that have been reported on, have been said by Keefe D, himself repeatedly, and the LAPD.
Show some love, brother love. Go on.
No, I'm just saying what he was saying.
What he was saying, yeah. And you're speaking about a key person who some people would say, oh, that's strong evidence. Other people would say, when you get into years later and people with various agendas, you don't know. You have a juror in here. What did that show us about this case? Because there is a tension within all this. It's no stranger to many people that the justice system fails in all sorts of ways. You show how it failed survivors and Cassie, clearly. At the same time, he beat the case in New York. I remember the day it happened, and I looked at 50's Instagram for Diddy News, as so many Americans do. And in all fairness, 50 said, okay, a big part of the case, right? You said. Many people think that was an unjust outcome, but when talking to the jurors, what did you find? Because the film looks at all of this horror, but then finds that a jury of his peers in New York, ultimately in this era, said the government did not prove the whole RICO.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really complicated. And I think that to break down what went right and what maybe went left or wrong in that trial that's a whole other documentary. But I think that, we have two jurors, two very different types of New Yorkers, that were interviewed in the film. And I think that when you talk to them, I mean, it was very clear to me that they stood behind that decision. They stood behind it 1,000%. Because they felt that based on the charges that were presented by the federal government, and that they could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Sean Combs was guilty of, RICO.
Yeah. That they overcharged.
That they overcharged. I think that when you get into the, I don't know if our laws or our legal system are the best when it comes to the gray matter of sexual assault.
They had tanks out in front of his house. Like they made a bigger, more extreme approach to the investigation.
So you think the government did basically mishandle what was still strong evidence?
They did overdo it.
They overdid it.
They did great. He beat the case. To me, that what he was charged with, that's a victory. Like that, to end up with 50 months when you had when your life on the line is a victory. But to be the only person that's incarcerated for hiring and transporting male prostitutes is different.
Yeah. Life on the line, also a 50 lyric. It is. When he comes out, and it's not that long from now, he re-enters this world. He's got a stack of civil cases that could bankrupt even the wealthiest people, and you give voice to some of those accusers and individuals. What do you think the future should hold for Diddy? Should he be, sort of re-embraced or not?
I don't know if he. I don't know why he didn't file bankruptcy. Like it would have indicated to the sharks, even if you see blood in the water, there's not that much blood, right? Because the lawyers, they came with so many lawsuits. It's like 80 different civil suits. So.
It's over 100 now.
Yeah, that is going to exhaust them. The legal process will exhaust them.
I think he also underestimated that a lot. I mean, with every celebrity, you do have different claims and some are completely unfounded. But I think that some of these lawsuits, there's receipts and there's footage and there's voice recordings. And I think that for a man, it's also very interesting, for the culture of hip hop, so many artists record themselves. And they probably, when they were, recording themselves in 2005, never saw the year 2025 and how accessible that media would be to actually make a case for things. And I think that's a big part of the gumbo of Sean Combs and